Welcome to Shadowlight Documentary. In the late 1960s, a wave of social change and idealism swept across America, especially in California, the heart of the summer of love. But as the decade came to a close, a dark shadow fell over the northern part of the state. It was a shadow cast by a figure who didn't just want to commit murder, he wanted fame. He craved the spotlight, taunting the police and the public with letters and cryptic puzzles. He gave himself a name that would become synonymous with terror and unsolved mystery. He called himself the Zodiac. The story begins on a cold, dark night, just 5 days before Christmas in 1968, on a secluded lover's lane called Lake Herman Road. High school students David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date. They had parked their car, seeking a moment of privacy. That privacy was shattered by another car pulling up beside them. A man emerged, and in a swift, brutal attack, he ended their young lives. There were no witnesses, no clear motives. It was a shocking, senseless crime that left the small city of Benicia in fear. For months, the case went cold. Then, on the 4th of July, 1969, the shadow struck again. In a park in the city of Vallejo, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau sat in a parked car. Just as before, another vehicle approached. A man walked up to their window with a flashlight, blinding them before opening fire. Darlene Ferrin was killed. Michael Mageau, despite being shot multiple times in the face, neck, and chest, miraculously survived. He gave police the first description of the attacker, a short, heavy-set man with a large face. Less than an hour after the attack, the phone rang at the Vallejo Police Department. A man's calm, monotone voice spoke on the other end. He said, "I want to report a murder. I also killed those kids last year." He was claiming responsibility for both attacks. This was no ordinary killer. This was someone who wanted credit for his work. This need for recognition would become his defining trait. On August 1st, 1969, three major newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald each received a handwritten letter. The author provided details only the killer could know, proving his claims were real. He signed the letters, not with a name, but with a symbol. A circle with a cross through it, like the crosshairs of a rifle scope. But there was more. Each letter contained one part of a three-part cipher, a puzzle made of strange symbols. And with it came a chilling demand. Publish the cipher on the front page, or he would go on a weekend killing rampage and murder a dozen people. The newspapers complied. The entire Bay Area was now a hostage in the killer's twisted game. While police and FBI cryptographers struggled with the code, an ordinary couple from Salinas, a schoolteacher named Donald Hardin and his wife Betty, took on the challenge. Working at their kitchen table, they obsessed over the puzzle. They theorized it was a simple substitution cipher, where one symbol stands for one letter. After just 20 hours, they cracked it. The message that emerged was a terrifying glimpse into the mind of a monster. It read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest. Because man is the most dangerous animal of all. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name, because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." He was not just a killer. He was a self-proclaimed god, collecting souls for his own personal heaven. With his identity still secret, the Zodiac grew bolder and more theatrical. In late September 1969, he traveled to the serene shores of Lake Berryessa. College students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were relaxing on a picnic blanket when they were approached by a man. His appearance was the stuff of nightmares. He wore a bizarre, black executioner's hood with his crosshair symbol stitched on the front, and dark sunglasses covering the eye holes. He told them he was an escaped convict and needed their car and money. He tied them up, and for a moment, it seemed like a robbery. But then, he pulled out a long knife. He stabbed Brian 6 times and Cecilia 10 times. Before leaving, he walked back to their car and drew his symbol on the door, writing the dates of his previous attacks beneath it, making sure everyone knew this was the work of the Zodiac. Cecilia Shepard would die from her injuries 2 days later. Brian Hartnell, against all odds, survived to tell the tale of the hooded man. Just 2 weeks later, the Zodiac brought his terror from the quiet countryside into the heart of the city. In San Francisco's wealthy Presidio Heights neighborhood, taxi driver Paul Stein picked up a passenger. At a stoplight, the passenger shot him in the head, killing him instantly. 3 teenagers across the street witnessed the event and called the police. They described a white male suspect, but a dispatcher's error would change everything. The alert that went out over the police radio mistakenly described the suspect as a black man. As a result, two officers who were just moments away drove right past a heavy-set white man walking away from the scene. They likely looked the Zodiac Killer right in the eye and let him go. The killer then mailed his most audacious letter yet to the San Francisco Chronicle. Inside was a piece of Paul Stine's bloody shirt, an undeniable trophy. In the letter, he mocked the police for their incompetence and threatened to shoot the children on a school bus. The city was in a full-blown panic. The Zodiac continued to send letters and ciphers for years, each one a new puzzle, a new taunt. The most famous was the Z340 cipher, a complex grid of 340 characters that stumped the greatest minds at the FBI and NSA for over half a century. It became the holy grail for codebreakers around the world. For 51 years, it remained silent. Then, in 2020, a team of private citizens from 3 different countries finally broke the code. The message: more taunts. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me, it began. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. Once again, he had led them on a wild goose chase that revealed nothing about his identity. To this day, other, shorter Zodiac ciphers remain unsolved. Over the decades, the list of potential suspects grew long, but one name has always stood at the top: Arthur Leigh Allen. Allen was a school teacher who had been fired for misconduct. The circumstantial evidence against him was compelling. He wore a Zodiac brand watch, with the crosshair symbol on its face. He lived in Vallejo, and was in the vicinity of several of the attacks. A friend even told police that Allen had talked about his desire to hunt humans with a gun and flashlight, and mused about calling himself the Zodiac. When police searched his trailer, they found weapons, bloody knives, and explosive formulas. However, the physical evidence never matched up. His fingerprints weren't a match for the prints found at the crime scenes. His handwriting, while similar, was ruled out by experts. And years later, DNA testing on the saliva from the letter stamps excluded him. Arthur Leigh Allen maintained his innocence until his death in 1992, taking any potential secrets to his grave. In recent years, new theories have emerged. In 2021, a group of independent investigators called the Casebreakers announced they had identified the Zodiac. Their suspect was a man named Gary Francis Post, who passed away in 2018. They pointed to scars on Post's forehead that they claimed matched the police sketch, and presented cryptic letters written by Post as further evidence. However, law enforcement and the FBI have not confirmed these findings, and officially, the case remains open and unsolved. The Zodiac Killer is credited with 5 confirmed murders, though he claimed to have killed as many as 37 people. His reign of terror eventually faded, and the letters stopped coming. He simply vanished, leaving behind a legacy of fear and frustration. Why does this case still haunt us? Perhaps it's the ciphers, the puzzles that invite us to solve the mystery ourselves. Perhaps it's the killer's brazen arrogance, his desire to play a game with the lives of innocent people as the stake. Or perhaps it's the most unsettling thought of all, that a man could commit such terrible crimes, taunt the entire world, and then simply disappear back into society, living out his days as a quiet neighbor, a co-worker, a face in the crowd. The Zodiac Killer created a monster, and then he let that monster dissolve into a ghost. A permanent and chilling question mark in the annals of American crime. Who do you think the Zodiac was? Arthur Leigh Allen, Gary Post, or someone whose name we've never even heard? Let us know your theories in the comments. And for more journeys into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, be sure to subscribe to Shadowlight Documentary.